Hey guys, Simon here, and we're in Minecraft. So since the last video, I've done nothing, but you guys have given me a little bit of feedback and suggestions. I think two main issues that were addressed, or the two issues that I thought were interesting, was the possibility of pushing back the outer boundary one more module so that I have a bit more space in here to work with, and the other issue is what happens at the top because it's no longer symmetrical, or it's no longer fully symmetrical. It might not look as good from above because as you can see, it's a glass ceiling and you can see in from the outside as well, and if it's not symmetrical up there, then that might not look as good. So I guess I'll try to address those two issues in this video or series of videos. Might go longer than one, but so the first one, I guess the easy one, is whether I want to push the outer boundary back one block or not. My gut feeling is no, because I want these four outer areas to be useful, or not useful but usable, or I want them to be actual spaces that you can walk in and not be it too not have it too crowded, because even now, these corners are very problematic. That's kind of interesting too, the lighting anyway. These corners are difficult to deal with because, that shape is very sharp there, and so it's very difficult to use it. But anyway, I'll try it out. So what I think I'll do is on one side, I'll leave it like that, and then maybe build the wall up a little higher. And then on the other side, I'll push it back one and then build the wall a little higher. And then we can see what the space kind of feels like when we're inside it. And if that doesn't make sense, well, you'll see when I've done it. So let me, I should have enough sand. Let's go with 2 blocks. So I'll do that, and imagine if I do the same on the other side. And then over here, I'll do the same except further back, as though we expanded the square outwards by one module. So actually I needed one more layer than this, because it's 3 layers from the ground. So, and also if I push it out one module, then you can no longer walk through there, but I mean you wouldn't really walk through here anyway. I mean it's so narrow and it's on the outside, but you might. I mean I did talk about making this kind of a parkour thing on the outside where you can get up onto the second level, and that might be useful for that. Alright, so if you imagine me doing that for both sides, and I'll come back when I do that. Alright, so I've gone and built the walls up a little bit, 2 blocks. So on that side we see the old version, and then on this side we see the extended version pushing outwards by 1 module. Now going back to why I do that is, I keep talking about in my videos of other games, I keep talking about game design and how if you don't know whether something is good, well, just test it, right? There's no point speculating or imagining things. You just build it and look at it, right? So this is the old version, and the walls gives us a boundary to get a better idea of how big the space is and what the shape of it is. So I guess the entryway will be up to here, and we get that. So we get this much distance to the outer wall. And also imagine, we might not have it as open as this. We might want to build something in here as well. Something in here or along the walls as well. So it might not actually be this big. So we get this much space. Or we can come up a bit. That much. So it's a decent space. It's a decent size. And let's see the other end. And you know, it's important when you do a test like this, you come in without any preconceptions. Because otherwise, you know, why bother testing if you already decided you like something more? So this is the other side. And it's quite clearly not as big. I mean, that seems like the most obvious thing in the world, right? It's a smaller space, therefore it's a smaller space. Although I would say that you don't really notice the corners much, unless you walk up to them. And even then, okay, I mean it's like a dead space, a useless kind of corner space, but that's not a big deal. It is notably smaller, and I guess the only issue is that there's no way you can do much with that. And let's go back to the other side. You know, I can't think of any major issues either way at the moment. And so I'm not expecting any of you guys to have any great insights as to whether one is better than the other. I mean, you have the gap here, which is not much more useful than the space on the other side. It's wider here. And again, I'm doing this without, you know, any real design for the space. Like I'm not saying what I want to use the space for, or what I want to put into this space, and so obviously it's very difficult to assess whether one is better than the other. But this is wider than the other side. Yeah, this feels more like a corridor, or like a residual space than the other one. The other one feels like a room, whereas this just feels like it feels too narrow to be a proper room. And if you imagine this goes all the way up to maybe 2/3 of the way up. I mean, yeah, okay, so we've built a little bit and we've tested it, and I think my conclusion is either one is fine as it is, and the only question then I think is what, we're at the top, is what do we want to do with the spaces. And I do think that I want those to be bigger because I want to do something with them. If you remember, the original idea was to have the open air space, and then the dark area, and then the light area. So these are supposed to be proper rooms. Just, you know, there's one room, there's that room there, and then those are like corridors, and then outer rooms as well. So I mean, if we push that out, we'll be pushing that back as well, and we'll be pushing this square back, and all that would do is to make this area even bigger than it is now, which I don't really think is necessary, because, you know, I can't think of anything to put into here. Whereas out here, at least I've got this vague idea of some parkouring steps up to the second level. Here, I really don't have any idea what to put in there. So maybe, just for those reasons, I will keep the smaller square and the larger outer spaces. But again, you know, we got time. I mean, I don't have a deadline for this. It's just a hobby, and so I can just think about it and leave it. In case you guys have any more ideas or any comments on in case I come up with any other ideas. I can always change it, or I can finalize it later. I don't have to make the decision right now. So let's leave that at that. Now the second issue is what this thing would look like on the ceiling, or, you know, just under the ceiling. And for that, I'm thinking I will build a ceiling plan. I mean, if you guys haven't studied architecture, that might seem a bit strange to you. Plans are almost always floor plans, but for practical reasons, architects often make ceiling plans because you need to figure out what goes on the ceiling as well. And usually they just draw like a mirrored version of a plan, and it shows you what's on top instead of what's on the ground. But here we can actually build, and so I'm thinking I'll build the ceiling plan on the ceiling, under the glass. And I guess I'll start with the modules at the walls. So the square and the circle I'll draw first, and then I'll have a look at it later. After that, again I'll probably cut out the building bit, because it's not going to be too interesting. And I'm not really sure how to do this, but I guess I'll just do this for now. Alright, so I'll come back when I've built that. Okay, so I did that, and it turns out you can't see a thing when the blocks are right underneath the glass. I don't know if it's the glitch or if it's a graphical thing, but yeah, those blocks are like black. You can't see them. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, there's another shape down there as well. I don't know if you can see it from here. There's the square and then the circle, and then there's the circle and then the dots of the grid points. I mean, the square is off center. Actually, let's go up a bit. The square is off center. Oh, not the square. I mean the inner circle is off center, but I don't think that's too much of a problem. And actually, this is not gonna be useful because we're looking at it from an angle that you won't see when you're down there, and you can't see a thing anyway. So I guess the square is about there, and then the circle is there. You know what, I don't think the fact that it's off-center is gonna be much of a problem. I mean, you just read it as a shape. It's still symmetrical this way, so the line of symmetry is still here. And so instead of just being a central thing, then it'll be a directional thing, which it already is because there's going to be a staircase here, whereas there's water all around there. There's going to be a staircase up here. So it already is directional. I don't think that's a problem having it directional like that. But the concern is, of course, that it's not symmetrical from above. But yeah, we can't actually see anything down there anyway through the glass and the water, so... Actually, maybe I should wait until nighttime. No, that's not useful neither because there's no light up there. At nighttime you would see through the glass and towards the light areas behind it more clearly. But at the moment there's no light up here, so you can't see it anyway. Anyway, I don't think it's a big problem, the fact that it's not symmetrical in all four directions, in the sense that like there's not two lines of symmetry, there's only one line of symmetry. That one, and it mirrors this way and not the other way, but I don't think that is a problem. Yeah, so I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this on YouTube, but there's like a circle there. And if you imagine that's gonna be open because the water kind of pours in through there, and that's gonna be open to the sky. There's gonna be a circle there, and other shapes, and that circle there is off center, which is not a problem. I don't think that's a problem at all. just cause, you know, it's not a problem when things are not completely symmetrical. I think it's still gonna look good. I can actually mark it out more clearly above the water. Let's just come over here. It stops there, I believe. Yep. And it's 5, 3, 2, 1. 3, 4, 5. And we can see through the glass down to the thing below as well. Actually, this is the inner circle, sorry. The water won't be pouring in from there, it'll be pouring in from about 2 blocks back. It'll pour in from there. And this will be completely empty in the middle. So if you can try to imagine that. Let's go back up. So there's a circle there, and you don't even notice it when you're on ground level, right? Because the angle is so low, you don't even notice that it's not symmetrical. But if we come over here, so we see the outer circle and an inner circle. Yeah, I don't think that's a big problem. The fact that it's not symmetrical like that. I mean, the shapes are all pretty abstract anyway, and maybe it's, I don't know, it's less powerful. I mean, obviously if it's all symmetrical, then the shape's very strong because it all lines up and it all focuses at one point. When it's not symmetrical like that, then it introduces a directionality. Hold on, it's lagging, sorry. Oh, that's good. So it introduces a directionality, you know, it's off center, and so it's, you shift it over that way a little bit, but either way is fine, I believe. It's not like it's really, it's not like one is good and one is bad. It's different, but I think it's just as good. Alright, so then we're considering 2 different issues in this video, and I think both of them are kind of resolved. Like, this is not a problem. The one with whether or not I want to, well, we can't see anything. Whether we want the outer square to be larger, I don't think we do. Or I don't think I do. Should I can leave it like that. That might be useful later when I empty this out. I'm gonna have to remove some of this glass as well, which is a bit of a waste of the glass, but doesn't really matter. Let's go back inside and have a look again at the ceiling plan from down here. So that's the walkway where I built the thing, and then there's the ceiling plan above. Obviously that's not the complete ceiling plan, there's going to be more stuff up there. But yeah, I don't think it's a problem that it's not symmetrical. Alright, so that's that for this video, I think. I really should get on to start building this thing properly. Now do it with dirt first off, just to get the shapes right, and then I'll use the sandstone. I'm thinking maybe obsidian as well. You know, again, the light and dark. The sandstone is the white and the obsidian is the black. Colored wool is an option, red and yellow and green. I don't know if I want it to be all multicolored and everything. But probably the black and the white. Okay, I guess if I think of anything else, I'll talk about it in the next video. Alright, yeah, interested in comments or suggestions? It's a bit abstract at this point. And, you know, I don't think there's too much difference between the different variations at this point. I mean, in the last video there was the two plans, the central plan and then the off-center plan, and a few people were saying the off-center one is probably better, and I agree with that. So, you know, again, that it's good to test these things, because my first idea was the centralized one. And then the off-center one came after, and if I just went ahead and built the first thing I thought about, it wouldn't have been as good. And so again, we're going back to the idea of this design process. You don't want to just do the first thing you think of. You want to try different things to make sure that you're doing the best thing you can. Alright, so we'll keep on with this, and think and design and test and everything else, and it's all fun and games. Yay, Minecraft.